Hey guys, this is Woodworker Royer, and I just wanted to change it up a little bit today. It won't really be a woodworking video. It's going to be a fish keeping video. Um, Obviously, I also keep fish in addition to my woodworking hobby. Um, but I have a 60-gallon tank with guppies in it, and there wasn't really a solution. I've got it too close to the wall for a hang-on back filter to work, and a regular canister filter is too expensive for me right now. Um, and I didn't. There's another couple other things. I also wanted a canister type filter because then I can have a spray bar where a hang-on back filter I can't really do that. To spread out the water flow so that the guppies don't get, because I've got a bunch of fry in there and all that stuff. Don't want them to get swept away in the current and, launched onto the other side of the tank. So anyway, I kind of I built this from several different videos online. Aquarium Co-op was the main inspiration. And then there was, I think it was My Animal House was another one that made a video that inspired me to do this. But anyway, so this is the end product. I bought a bunch of plumbing stuff here. 10-pack of elbows, and I just went kind of crazy with it. But the main idea is I've got a Marineland Maxi Jet, I think 210 gallon per hour pump that will go from this hose. The outlet on it fits perfectly into this 1/2-inch tubing that happens to be Aqueon gravel vac tubing. But it doesn't matter. Any tubing that you have, any vinyl tubing that's, I believe, 1/2-inch diameter will fit on there fine. It doesn't have to be Aqueon. I just happen to have that and that fit. And then that stuff is 1/2-inch tubing, and then it goes into the inner diameter rather is 1/2-inch. The outer diameter is 5/8, and that happens to fit into this Home Depot stuff. It has a 5/8 inner diameter and a 3/4 inch outer diameter. It fits perfectly in there. I can't do it with one hand, but friction fits really nicely in there, and I don't think it'll leak. So instead of me having to go find another piece of this that is longer, or buying more of that, I just got this because I was thinking about using a different filter. But anyway, this stuff should work. And then this stuff, the main reason that I got this was because this was the barb that I could find, and then this was the tubing that they had in stock that I could find that fit a barb in the store. And I just got that because I knew that those two fit together. The 1/2-inch barb to the 1/2-inch tubing for some reason didn't seem to fit very well, so I just chose the 5/8 instead. Anyway, so this is the input. So I'm going to have my pump. This is not a fish tank, this is a table saw, but imagine that the fish tank is down here. I'm going to have the pump down there with an intake sponge and attached to the tube. The tube will come up here and attach to this barb, adapting from the 1/2-inch tube that fits the pump to the 5/8 and then to the barb. Come through here, and this is just a bunch of adapters to go from threaded 1/2-inch NPT, which is National Pipe Thread. Just a bunch of stuff that adapts, blah 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 blah. 1/2-inch pipe, and then it goes into 3/4, and then into a 1-inch bulkhead, which is the secret to these things is getting a 1-inch bulkhead. Now, I would have had this done 5 days ago or something, except that Home Depot wanted, and Lowe's for that matter, wanted $15 for a bulkhead. and it was only 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. And I found these that are Lifeguard Aquatics, I think is what it's called. But anyway, it's actually meant, I think it's meant for aquariums specifically, and for your drilled aquariums where it's got the overflow bulkhead and all that stuff. I'm obviously not using it for that. I'm using it in a filter, but it doesn't matter if it's sealed. Either way, it's fine. But anyway, these were only like $4.50 or $5 a piece versus the $15 that Home Depot wanted for smaller ones. So if you need it, I guess you can spend the extra $20 to get it at Home Depot. But if you don't need it right away, if you can wait a couple days, then just get it on Amazon for cheaper. I wasn't planning on using this lid. I was thinking of using one of the Gamma lids or whatever, the screw top type. It snaps on, and then the middle part of it screws off, and then it's got a rubber gasket to keep it watertight. The problem with that is because of the shape of that lid. I wanted to go with something flatter, and the other thing is the way that I designed this, which I can't really take credit for, the way that these have been designed over the years, is that's the input. It takes the water down to the bottom, and then it rises up through all the media and overflows in the overflow pipe and goes out. So wherever you put this pipe, the water doesn't get above that. So I've got mine about 2 inches below the lip of the bucket. So as long as my pump doesn't overwhelm this drain, there shouldn't be a problem. If my pump does overwhelm this and it overflows, then I've got a problem. That's when you'd want a sealed lid. I don't think that that's going to happen because my pump goes through a little 1/2 inch tube like this. It's fine. Its output size is actually smaller than that tube. So I don't think that there's going to be any problem with using 3/4 inch pipe as a drain, and it goes down here through all this is 3/4 inch fittings. It's going to go down and out through a spray bar. I haven't built the spray bar part of it. I'm waiting until I water test this and everything, make sure everything is watertight as much as it needs to be and it works. And then I'm going to then I'll put it on my tank, and I'll figure out the spray bar and all that stuff. The main difference between this and the Aquarium Co-op version is this one does not have the drain on the base. I was originally going to do it this way, and then I saw theirs and I was wanting to do it that way. And then I looked at it and it was like, that thing's gonna be, sticking down there like 5 or 8 inches. I mean, just way too far. I don't want to have to put it on a stand, It's already going to be above the tank, by the way. So that's another reason I don't need a sealed lid. So basically all that needs to be sealed is the run or the hose up to getting into the bucket, and then from here out of the bucket. Everything inside of it is kind of just put together, and I didn't really glue it. I don't think that there's any reason to. It's friction fit pretty well. And if it leaks a little bit, it's not going to leak very much. If it leaks a little bit, it's not going to be a big problem. So the way that this works, again, water comes through the pump and the pre-filter comes in here, goes around here, down all the way to the bottom of the bucket. And this is not glued together. I just have this. This is removable. That's just going to make it easier to cut media and all that stuff. All this is glued except for the bulkhead. I mean, that's got its own seal, so I don't need to glue that. But and then this whole piece is glued. I just have it detachable from the bulkhead just to make life simple, instead of needing to have this huge mass all the time. I can take it apart like that and store it better, or whatever I need to do with it. And again, it's getting into the bucket, so it doesn't really matter if it leaks a little bit. Same thing with this. None of this part in here on the drain is glued. I don't need it to be. It's detachable fairly easily, like that. These friction fit really, really well, and then this, which I need to be removable, is okay. It's not really, really friction fit. I'm not sure why that is. If they actually made the bulkhead to a different spec than this 1-inch pipe is, I don't know why, but it just doesn't fit quite as snugly as the actual parts that are made for 1-inch pipe. Anyway, then that comes out here, goes into a union, comes down and goes into the spray bar. And the reason I did this is just so I can easily unscrew this and move the bucket wherever I need to take it, and then I don't have to take the spray bar off every time I want to do anything with the tank, with the filter. Put that thread on there. Anyway, so that's the main principle with this. The water's going to go down. It's going to flood upward. It's going to go, into the bucket, go down to the floor, flood upwards and through all the media, and then drain out here. I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to do this. The plan with this originally was just to have water come in the top and drip. It was going to have a little spray bar in here. It was going to drip down onto the media and then go out and flow through the floor. Again, I changed that for two reasons. One of them, I didn't want to do the floor thing because I didn't want to have to build a pedestal that this sat on that was, like a foot high, so that I could put all the union and all that stuff underneath. So I didn't want to do that. The second reason is I was thinking about it, and having water flood up, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Why not just have it gravity feed? Which it does anyway, really. Once it gets up to this point, it just gravity feeds out. Why have all this extra plumbing in the middle? Well, the reason is because if you have it just come through a hole, or even a spray bar, or, if you had a circular, spray bar of some sort somehow, other than needing a pump that does a lot more gallons per hour than mine, you still only have that pattern of that spray bar. So if you had, 300 holes around here, there's going to be 300 points where the water hits and it goes down. And it's going to splatter around a little bit and it's going to do whatever, but still you've basically got 300 points of where the water is going to go. It's going to basically try and go the easiest route down and then out of the bucket. Well, you end up with channeling. You end up with, a lot of the surface area in here that doesn't get any water, or doesn't give enough water to really do anything, doesn't have enough water flowing over it constantly that any bacteria that lives on it is really going to be doing you any good. So you you're kind of limiting your beneficial bacteria and your filtration ability by doing that, even though you're going to have some of it that it clogs up a little bit, so the water moves over and it has to find another channel. It's still going to channel. If you have it go down from the bottom, or go down to the bottom rather, and then flow and flood up and then go out, you have all the media all the way from the bottom all the way up to your exit point is getting water. It may or may not get very much flow, but at least it's getting water and it's doing something. Or at least that's the theory. And I had to think about that a little bit for that to make sense to me, personally. Which is why this is why canister filters have been doing that for years, because that's how it works. And I never really understood that until I had to start designing my own and think about it. Actually, I'm going to put this down here and make that easier on myself to show. But anyway, and I didn't really think this through with where I put this handle on here. It it turned out really nicely. That I'm gonna have it aiming this way because my tank is down here. This is gonna be sitting up on a dresser above the tank and then flow out to the right. So it turns out that if I ended up putting that drain right below the axle of the handle, which means that the way it's going to be sitting, I can just do this once I disconnect it and all that. I was planning on putting check valves, or not check valves, ball valves on here. I decided not to, and the reason is because they're just too huge. Even the way it is, this is sticking out probably 8 inches, and I didn't want I didn't want another 4 inches of this thing and then pipes on either side and all that. It's just getting too crazy. What I'm gonna do is I'll turn off the pump, I'll unplug it, I'll pull it out, all that. The water will drain out of here the way it's gonna drain, and then I'll pull this off of the stand. Excuse me. I'll pull this off of the dresser, put it on the little cart that I use for water change buckets and all that, wheel it outside, clean it out and everything, and then bring it back in. I don't really need a check valve to do this. Actually, I hadn't thought about it, but I could. I'm just thinking of this. And I think what I'm going to do is I've got 2 of these unions, and I may or may not actually put it on this, since I have to do the pump maintenance anyway with the pre-filter and all that stuff. It's probably easier for me to just pull the whole pump out, take it out with this thing, and be done with it. And what I'll do with this is I'll take the half that mates to this, the half of this one, and I'll put whatever pieces I need to do, and an end cap on this, glued up and everything, so that this just mates to that. So what I'll do is I'll take this off, I'll leave it on the, I'll unhook the pump and all that stuff, put it up there. I'll unhook the spray bar, move this over a little bit, and then basically put a cap on here, and then take it outside. That way it can't leak. The main reason I'm building this, by the way, is that fish tank just needs a little bit more mechanical filtration. It's got plenty of biological filtration. Got a 6-inch cylindrical sponge filter. Lots and lots of beneficial bacteria in there. It's fully planted. The fish are healthy and everything, with the exception of that one platy right now. But anyway, biologically, bacteria-wise, they're fine. The reason that I'm building this is just there's some particles and stuff floating in the water that I don't like. The fish don't mind them. They actually eat some of them. But I just don't like it as a fish keeper. And so I decided I needed to have a different type of filter that could filter that out. So my plan here is going to be a sponge, probably a block of sponge on whichever side the input goes on, so I can have it on either side of this. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be coming in on the opposite side from this outflow, coming up and flowing out through that. But anyway, where the water is. But anyway, wherever I put that, I'll put a sponge filter that the water has to go down through, and flow around, whatever, and then it'll flow up to this bar here, this pipe here, and on top of that, I'm going to put 4 inches of foam, so 2 thicknesses of 2-inch thick foam, and then probably biomedia of some sort, maybe a lava rock or something like that, and then on top of everything, probably another layer of sponge or foam before the water flows out through there. So anyway, that's the plan, and again, it's just for mechanical filtration. I'm going to get plenty of biological filtration out of this too, but the only reason I'm putting this in there is I want mechanical filtration, so I'm not really that interested in, you know, filling this up with you know, bio balls or bio rings or any of that stuff at the moment. I might end up doing that later, but right now all I'm doing this for is the mechanical filtration. So anyway, hope you guys like the video, and please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you would change something, if you have an idea for how to improve this. Excuse me, I'd love to hear it. I think it'd be really cool to. I'm probably not going to make another one of these for a while, because I've only got, you know, 3 tanks, and 2 of them don't need this. And I've already built this one. But if you have an idea, I might be able to incorporate it in this one or the next one that I build someday. And that would be really cool. I think it'd be awesome to, you know, find that I did something on this that didn't make any sense, and you guys come up with an idea that does, and I can implement it, and then in maybe this one, who knows. Anyway, yeah, I'd forgotten. I was going to do, I'm gonna one is, if you're just draining this directly into a tank or a pond, you won't need all of the extra pieces that I have right here. You would either drain it from the base, put the bulkhead on the base underneath and have it drain directly down, or you'd put it on the side, and you would not need any of this or any of this. You just need a piece that goes from the bulkhead into an elbow and then drains down. Again, I only put this on here because I wanted the union, and I wasn't thinking, because I went with a threaded union and then a slip, and then a piece of PVC and then into an elbow. If I'd been thinking, and if they had it in stock, I would have had it go straight from the bulkhead into a slip PVC, or a slip union, instead of a threaded union, which is what this is. So this piece in here would be gone. It wouldn't even exist. And then I'd have the other half of the union. This piece would be gone, and then I'd go directly into this. So that would have saved me 3 inches, probably, of these 2 things, which are just, you know, slip into threaded adapters, basically. So that would be the thing that I would do differently on this. I'm not going to do it differently because I've already got this all glued up, and I don't want to go to the store again. But that would be one thing I would change. And then the other thing that I would change is this whole thing that I have adapted that's just insane. If I'd been thinking, I would have had a because this is a 1-inch bulkhead, I would have had a 1-inch tube come up to a 1-inch to 1/2 inch adapter, which I actually happen to have right here. So it'd have to be a pipe that would come up to a coupler. This would go into it, and then this needs to be threaded so that this barb, which is 1/2 inch national pipe thread into a 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch barb rather. Anyway, so basically, so that could screw into this, which would be right there, and then just go off directly into this. I wouldn't need all these pieces and adapters and things. Also, I just had a bunch of fittings, so I was kind of playing around with this, trying not to go to the store. I ended up having to anyway, but when I was doing this, it turns out that a 1-inch bulkhead, or at least these 1-inch bulkheads, which again are Lifeguard, Lifegard, Lifeguard Aquatics. I'm not sponsored or anything by them. I'm just telling you the name so you can find them. They're on Amazon. In fact, actually, Lowe's carries them. They just don't carry them in the store that I live by. They have them online, though. Anyway, this 1-inch bulkhead, a 3/4 inch elbow fits directly into that 1-inch bulkhead. Doesn't go the same way with, you know, your 3/4 things fitting the 1/2 inch things without a bunch of sanding, which is what this connection is. But anyway, that's beside the point. Basically, if you need to, which I did, a 3/4 inch coupling elbow, or well, I guess technically 90-degree or 45-degree elbows do fit into these 1-inch bulkheads. Don't know if that works with all 1-inch bulkheads, and I don't know that it works with any other sizes, but this particular 1-inch bulkhead does fit these particular 3/4 inch pieces, any of them, the 45, the 90, or the coupler. But anyway, that is, I believe, all. I just wanted to add those extra little details of things that I learned from this. Again, this is not a watertight lid. There's no seal in here, except for that thing that may or may not be a seal. No, that's plastic. Never mind. Anyway, there is no rubber gasket in here or anything. This is one of their one of Leak Tight's easy off lids. You can see right there. It's a more flexible plastic that doesn't have the stupidly hard to get off clips that the normal lids have for the orange buckets. And the only reason I got this, well, for one thing, the Gamma lids that I wanted originally were gone, and they have the weird contours on the top, which would have made getting a huge bulkhead, I mean, it's probably 2 inches across anyway, finding a flat spot to put that on would have been difficult. And then also with all the plumbing inside, it would have been difficult to twist the whole lid off, because it would have had to do this. The filter media would have had to move. It would have just been a pain. Didn't want to do that, so I didn't get that. It was also out of stock, so it didn't matter. And then the only other lid that they had that had any sort of seal was bright orange, and I'm wanting this to not look like a Home Depot bucket, but to look at least somewhat like a filter. It doesn't bother me, but the parents, you know, everybody knows how parents are. We all had them. Anyway, so that is the canister filter build, the DIY canister filter build. It's just for mechanical filtration at this point, but again, this design would work for pretty much anything you want to do. It's basic. It's really not that much different than anybody else's, except that I don't remember having ever seen anybody use these unions for quick disconnect. But that's not really that big of a, you know, crazy, you know, revolutionary idea in the world of anything. That's just me looking at the parts at Home Depot and saying, oh, they've got unions, I could use that for a quick disconnect. The one thing that I will say that I definitely want to do is I got 2 of these unions, and so this one was just an extra piece. I am going to get a cap and build the other half of this so that I can just cap, disconnect this piece, cap it off, and then not have to worry about it leaking as I take it out to clean it. Okay, guys, this is Woodworker Royer. This is a quick update to the video you've just been watching. I've done 3 or 4 takes of this, but anyway, this is the filter. It doesn't have a lid on it or anything right now, but I did a leak test earlier today, and it was leaking. You probably just saw the footage from that, or you about to, whatever. It was leaking around this. My solution to that was to use GE Silicone 2, which is 100% silicone, around the gasket and on the inside, on the outside and the inside. I believe I didn't know this until after I had put this on, and then I started thinking about it. But I believe that I installed the bulkhead incorrectly. Because it's got this washer part that connects to threading on the inside, and then it's got a nut and a gasket that go on. I put the gasket on the inside of the bucket, and I believe I was supposed to put it between the bucket and this piece right here, and then just put the nut on the inside. I didn't do that. I did it the other way, where I put this in, and then over the threading, then I put the gasket and then the nut over that, on the inside of the bucket. Again, I think that is the incorrect way to do it. I would put it between this and the bucket from now on. But anyway, I didn't do that, and then I already had it, all this silicone globbed on there before I thought about it. Why it was most likely leaking. But anyway, I don't think it'll leak anymore. Now, having said that, I was going to totally tear this apart. I wasn't even going to tear it apart. I was just going to throw it away, and go get another bucket and all that stuff because I put the wrong silicone on here. I did not put the DAP. I didn't do that bad. I did get GE silicone, but I got the silicone 2. I don't know why this isn't focusing now. There we go. I got this GE silicone 2, and when I got it specifically for this project, but when I got it, I looked all over it and I didn't see that right here in the middle of the label it says mold free. Now the other day before I ended up getting this, I got this yesterday, I believe. The day before that, I was looking at, when I was getting all the parts and stuff for the actual filter, I was on the caulk aisle looking for aquarium safe caulk. And I didn't see anything that didn't say mold free, or, it wasn't silicone or something. So I don't know if they've changed something or what, but I didn't see anything that was aquarium safe until I saw this the day afterwards, and then I was like, oh, I can get that, and I didn't even see that it said mold free. But I saw a Dan Heitshaw video that showed basically him, it didn't really show anything, but anyway, it was basically him saying that GE, in his experience, GE Silicone 1 and Silicone 2 are basically the same product. He said he's used both of them on his aquariums and that they're totally fine for fish. The only difference, apparently, that he's noticed, and he's done a bunch of research and everything on it, GE Silicone 1, which this is Silicone 2, so GE Silicone 1 releases acetic or acetic acid as it's curing, where this one releases methane or methylene or something, some other chemical, while it's curing. And so he said that this silicone 2 is better for use indoors because it's a little bit less caustic to your eyes and nose and whatever, versus the vinegary other one, silicone 1. I don't know. I've smelled this one and I've smelled the other one. This might be a little bit less terrible, but I mean, neither one of them are very pleasant smell-wise. But anyway, he was saying that both of them are perfectly aquarium safe. He's used them for years and years, and there's no problem. I am going to leave Dan's video in the description below. I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything. I just feel like his video is really good. Actually, I do want to add that there is another design. I'm going to leave the link in the description for that too. There's another design that has the input on the base here, that where it comes up through the middle of or doesn't really matter if it's the middle, I guess, but anyway, comes up through the middle in a, I believe, 3/4 inch tube. Doesn't matter what it is, but anyway, comes up in the middle, goes up to the lid that has a larger tube. So basically, say the middle tube is 1 inch, goes up to within a 1/2 inch or whatever, couple inches of the lid, and then there's like a 4 inch, or in this case, an 8 inch flower pot or tube or whatever that comes back down, that's sealed to the lid. So the water has to come up through the input, hits that, expands, slows down, because that's what water does. Then it comes back down around that pipe and goes to the base. Now all the solids in that water go up, and this is for aquaponics, by the way, just so you know. If you watch the video, it's pretty obvious, but anyway, the solids come up, they go down, they slow down as the water slows down, and they are heavier than the water, obviously. So they go and they want to sink to begin with, but the pump has picked them up and agitated them and all that, so they're in the water column. But as they slow down, they precipitate. They fall down to the bottom of the bucket. And they stay there because the water isn't flowing hard enough to pick them up. Obviously, some of it's going to get picked up, but you know what I mean. Then the water comes back up around the outside of that flower pot or pipe, that big pipe, comes up back around and drains out. Now, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to do a whole rebuild of this. But I thought it was a pretty cool design. And I think it's worth looking into. If you haven't built one of these yet, you're thinking about it, whatever, that would be a really cool design to do. It might save you money if you can find something that's, big enough where, I'm going to put this down here. It might save you money where if you can find something big enough that you could use an FX6 sponge filter, kind of like they do, where it's kind of wrapped around. You might be able to save a bunch of money just getting those. It's Fluval, so you're probably not going to save any money buying any of their stuff. But anyway, if you have them lying around or whatever, you might be able to use them instead of having to have a sheet of foam that goes all the way across. That fills up the whole, layer of the whatever, all the way across the whole filter. You might just be able to do it around the edge. Whether that saves you money or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, this is a piece of 2-inch thick by 11 or 11.5-inch wide by 23-inch long foam. Obviously, it's foam. Anyway, I don't remember what brand this is. I think it's Aqua Neat, but I don't remember. I will leave a link in the description. Again, not affiliated. None of that. None of my videos are affiliated. I just feel like it's helpful to leave links in the description. I don't get any money from it at all. So just feel free to buy it there. Not that buying it from an affiliate link actually costs you any money anyway. I don't know why people are worried about that, but whatever. I'm just doing it just to help you guys if you can't find it on your own. I believe this is 15 or 20 ppi, pores per inch foam. It's fairly coarse. They only offer it in blue, which doesn't matter in this, but it's actually really great for matten filters. Except that when I was doing mine, I didn't want blue, so I ended up getting the black version, which is a smaller, more dense foam. Not a smaller. It's a more dense foam. It's the same size sheet. But anyway, I ended up getting that instead of this, which would have been a lot better for that. But anyway, that's beside the point. I have it now. I have this now. Excuse me. And so I'm going to show you how I put this together. So with one hand, which is going to be all kinds of fun. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So I push that down in there. Actually, before I do this, I wanted to show how you make the holes in this, or how I make the holes in this. You can use there it is. Most of that is from this project. By the way, that's why fish keeping costs so much money, because you go and you, at least me, go and you buy this piece and that piece just to make sure that you have what you need, and then you end up with buckets of parts that you've probably honestly never going to use. But we pretend that we're going to use them so that our wives and parents don't mind as much. Or at least that's what we tell ourselves to, because, Well, we're at the little white lie of, we're going to use that someday. We may as well say, you know, our parents are going to feel better about it as we say that. Anyway, this is what I do to cut through this foam. You need to make a hole in it. You need to make it so that it fits around a pipe. So, simple way to do that is you take the piece of pipe that you're going to use, the size that you're going to use. This is 1-inch pipe, and this is 1/2-inch pipe. And this is just normal PVC pipe. This is nothing special. Take it. I used a file to file some teeth in it. Now, you do not need to do that. And I don't know, I've never done it on the inside. That may be a little bit more effective. But anyway, I did it on the outside with a file. You don't need that. All you need is an undeburred regular cut. If you do this with PVC cutters, the little ratchety scissor things, they're not really scissors, but whatever. The pruner looking things, the ratchety pruner looking things. It may or may not give you enough bite on the edges here to grab this and cut through it. If you use a saw, it leaves a ton, or at least the hacksaw that I use on this leaves a ton of tear out and stuff. So I just break off the big chunks and then use it that way. Today I just decided that I was going to play with the file and see if that helped. It really didn't. It actually made it worse because it's too aggressive. But anyway, you take either end of this. You do not want to deburr this though, because then it'll make it too fine. It won't grab anything and it won't work. Anyway, you want to take this and you're going to spin it back and forth and it'll cut a hole. With this, I don't know if it's because it's at an angle like that or if it's just so aggressive, but it didn't really leave a very clean hole, and so I had plugs that I had to like kind of pick out of there and make a hole. But it gives you a good, at least it positions it, and it gives you a good idea where the hole's going to be, and it cuts some of it for you. Anyway, be that what it may, be that as it may, if you want a hole for a 1/2-inch piece, you use a piece of 1/2-inch PVC and you do your thing. If you want it for 1 inch, you do your thing. If you want it for 4-inch, use a knife. And you can trace it out with, you know, a marker or whatever, and then cut that out, whatever. I just think that this is for small PVC, you know, relatively small pieces like this. You know, I mean, small diameter. This is a fine method. It works well. But you can use whatever. You could also use a hole saw on this, possibly. I would go in reverse. So your normal hole saw, when you're doing wood or whatever, it's going to have the teeth where they're wanting to pick up wood and pull it out of the hole. I would go in reverse of that. So you're wanting the tooth to just glide along the foam and not grab it. If it grabs it, it will twist it and pull it in, and it'll make a mess. I didn't even turn it. I tried it without even having it on a drill or anything, and I went to turn it the regular way that you use a hole saw, and it was pulling it in without even any, you know, with just me twisting it. So it definitely doesn't work well that way. Maybe in reverse it would work well. But I haven't used it. I didn't have the right attachment for the hole saw that I had. So I didn't test that at all. That's just me thinking, which is probably a bad idea. But anyway, that is how you make the holes in this. Anyway, that's how you make one, you use that as a template for all the rest of them. Anyway, I'm going to put this in now. Actually, you know what? I've got other pieces. The way that I made this, again, this was a rectangle, so I just cut it in half, and then I cut the corners off, and then I cut, you know, the corners of the corners off. And so I ended up with 8 of these triangles. And I'm going to put them here. I don't think that they're really going to do much. Probably just a little bit of biological filtration. And I wasn't going to get that wet tonight, but whatever. Doesn't matter. And then I'm going to put this in. This is not soaking wet. It's wet, definitely, but not terrible. It's not like I'm filling it up with water or anything. Although it does say 30-minute, water ready or whatever on the silicone. So this should definitely not hurt it. Now you just want to make sure that those triangles don't interfere with where the intake is going to go. So you want to, stick your finger or whatever in there. Make sure that those two holes on the foam are lined up together. I don't know if you can really see in the video, but this is a dome. That doesn't really matter. But anyway, the way the water is going to go, it's going to go down through this actually, which just fits in like that. It's going to go down through here. It's going to go down all the way to within an inch or so of the bottom, and it's going to flood back up through here. Because of the pump that I'm using, which is supposedly 420 gallons per hour. I know some of you guys are going to laugh at that number. But anyway, this thing takes about a minute or 3, somewhere in there. I haven't timed it exactly, but anyway, it takes a good chunk of time, honestly, to fill up. Once it did that, it had a pretty good flow coming out. But it was a lot less than I was expecting from that power head that I'm using, because I was planning on using a power head that was like 210 or 220 gallons per hour, which I actually said earlier in this video. I was planning on using that, and I ended up using one that's double or almost double that volume, and it's way slower than I was expecting. I mean, I was expecting it to just fill right up and drain out and whatever, and it was not doing any of the things I was expecting it to do. But anyway, that is my video. I do hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe on this.